Hi everyone, this is Sunny from Database Tech. So today I had come up with one more new session on SQL Server Database. In today's session, I will explain what are scalar functions. So scalar functions may or may not have parameters, but always return a single value. Now, what does this mean? Let's understand this practically in SQL Server. For that, let's open SQL Server first. So here, before we start, let me show you some system-defined scalar functions, which are like scar. So let's see the syntax, like how to write this function. It is simple. You have to write down select scar and then open bracket like this. And if you hover the mouse here on this function, you will get to know this scar function expects one parameter and it returns float value. Let's provide some value here to this function. So what will be the square of 3? It is 9. So execute this. In the output you can see we get 9. And if you don't provide the value here, will it work? No, it will not. So it's mandatory to provide some parameter to this function. Now let's see some other scalar system defined function. Select getDate. And this function doesn't expect any parameter and it returns date time value. Let's execute this without providing any parameter. It has given us the current date and time. So what is the difference between these two functions? The first function, which was scar, it expects parameter, and if we don't provide the parameter, it will not work. And the second function, which was getDate, it doesn't expect any parameter and it will work without providing any parameter. And both the functions are system defined scalar functions. And one more thing, both the functions return single value. Now if you will go to the definition here for the scalar functions, you will understand that scalar functions may or may not have parameters, but always return a single value, which you have seen from these two system defined scalar functions. So these were the system defined. Now I will show you user defined scalar function, how to create them and how to use them. So let's start. Now let's say we have the requirement where we need to calculate the age of a person. So what we need is age of the person. We will provide some date and it should give us the current date, not current date, sorry, it should give us the age. So what is the age of that person? So let's see. First I will show you this without creating function, and then I will show you the same with function, and then you will able to understand like the difference between them. So let's start without function first. Now let's declare some variables. Declare @dob. And how to declare the variables? It is using the declare keyword. The data type will be date. Let's declare some other variable which will be declare @age, and the data type will be integer because we need the age of a person and that will be integer. In this variable we will provide the date, and in this variable we will get the date in years, and then we will set @dob equal to, let's give some date. So the date will be like 25/03/25 and 1990. So this is the month, day and year. So let's assume this is the date of birth. Okay, now what we need is, we need like how old the person is when we provide the date of birth. Then it will be set @age is equal to date difference. So we have a function that is date difference that will calculate the age of a person in year. It depends like what requirement you have. So the interval, the first argument is, if you will hover the mouse here on this function, you will get to know like what arguments you need to pass to this function. So the first argument is interval. It will be year, because we need the age in year. And then the second argument is starting date, date time. It will be @DOB. And the third argument is ending date time. So it will be getDate. So date difference is a function, and here we need the age in year, and DOB is the variable that we have defined here. In this DOB, we had provided this date of birth of any person, and this age will give us that age in year. And this is the current getDate. This is a function, system defined scalar function, which will give us the current date and time. So we have to do the difference. We will deduct, like from this, we will deduct this DOB. And then in last, select @age, because we need to print that with the help of this select @age, it will give us the output. Let's execute this now. You can see we get the current age in year. So the current person is 34 years. He is 34 years old. And if we will change here and make it 1, now you get the output as 33. So it will work like this. But now, if you need this again and again, so you will not write this code every time. It can, like there will be some drawbacks, like it will be time consuming. So you have to write this code every time if you have the requirement like this where you need the current age. So to fix this, what we can do, we can create a function. So let's see how to create a function. Now to create a function, we use create function, and let's give the function name. It will be calculate age. So let's give it a name as calculate age. So I had given the name as calculate age, but you can give any meaningful name, depends on the requirement. The name can be anything. Then inside that we will use the DOB, which is of date. So DOB is the parameter, and then returns int. So this function will return integer, because what we need is, we need the age. So it will give us the integer value. So that's why in the function, in the scalar function, it returns a single value. So we had used returns int. Then as begin. Now, do we need this? Do we need to declare this? No, we had already declared the same in this argument, so we don't need to declare. And we also don't need this to give some value, because see, that was the hardcode value that we had given. Now we will provide the value, the date of birth in this function, so we don't need that. And here also, and here we don't need this. We can use, as this is a scalar function, we will use return @age and then end. So that's it. Now the create function, which is calculate age, in that we had declared the DOB, which is of date, data type, and then return int as begin, declare age, set @age, this. Now we will execute this. Incorrect syntax near return. Okay, sorry, it is not return, it is returns. So this is the keyword that we use in the scalar function. Now execute this one more time and see it will work or not. You can see in the message below, command completed successfully. Our function has been created. Let me show you this one more time. So first, create function, the function name. Inside that we had defined this variable which is of DOB and the data type is date. Then returns integer because it has to give us the single value which is the age of the person. Then as begin, this is the keywords that we use while creating the function. Then declare, we have declared one more variable which is of age and the data type is integer. Then set age, here we had used the function to get the age of a person and then we are returning the same, this age. So now and then in the last end. So we have executed this command completed successfully. Our function calculate age has been created. Now how to get the output now from this function? You have to use select dbo.calculateage and then you will pass the value which is like 25 03 25 and then 1990. So will it work? Let's see. 34. So it has given us the output as below, which you can see in the message. Here is 34. Now we get the same output using function. So here you don't need to define those what we have done earlier. You don't need to declare the variables and then create the function and then get the output. Now you have to simply change the value here, the date of birth here, and you will get the output as below. So this is how user defined scalar function work. Now one more thing here, when you have to call the function, so right now we are calling this calculate age, so you cannot call this function without dbo. So you have to call this function with full name. And if you have to check this in Object Explorer, you can see from the left side we have Object Explorer. So where it is, you have to go to the database which is master, because this function is created in the master database. Then go to programmability, expand that. Here you will find functions, expand this also. So this is scalar valued function. So what was our function name? It is calculate age. So you can see it's created here, calculate age. And if you'll see the full name, it is dbo.calculateage. It's created with schema. So you have to call this function with schema as well. If you call this function without schema, without dbo, the full name, without a full name, it will not work. Calculate age is not recognized. So whenever you have to call this function, you have to use dbo dot. Now if you will execute this one again, it will work. And one more thing, like you can call the function, this scalar function, in where clause as well. Let me show you how. Now let's see, we have this table, select start from student. Here the age is 30. So you can use the scalar function in the where clause as well, in the condition. Now we can use like select star from student, where in where you can use this function. What's the function name? It is calculate age, where calculate age, or you can use where age is greater than. In calculate age you have to provide the value, the date of birth. So let's give that. It is 25, sorry, it is 03 or 23 and then 1990. So it will calculate some date. it will give some return value, it will return some value, and then it will check, okay, so where age, what's the age? Age is 30, where 30, which is age will give us 30, greater than calculate age. Let's see what we will get. Calculate age is not okay, so as I said, we have to use dbo dot. Now let's execute this one more time. We didn't get anything because from calculate age, what we get, let's see. From calculate age, select calculate age. So what we get here, we get 34. So from the table, the age is 30. So 30 greater than 34. Do we have any record from this table? No, we don't have, because age is 30. So, and from the output here from this function, we are getting 34. So we didn't get any record, that's why. Now if you will make it less than, so we will get the record. Let's execute this one more time. You can see now we were able to use the function in the where clause as well. So that's how you can use this function. So that was it for today's session. I hope you have understood like system defined scalar functions, and then I show you how we can create a user defined scalar function. I have used this like without function, without creating function, and with function. We get the same output. So that was it for today's session. I hope you have understood. We'll come up with the next session shortly. Till then, have a nice day. Bye bye. Take care. Be healthy, be safe, and love your family.